What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, yesterday I did a story with an update on the Tyre Nichols situation. Now, the trial will be on September. The federal trial will be on start September 9th, which I will be attending and keeping up with and reporting for you guys that loyally watch this channel, with a lot of insight of what's going on, the ins and outs of the courtroom as far as the conviction of 3 Memphis police officers. It was 5, but 2 of them have taken deals. Desmond Mills Jr., Emmitt Martin III, which I was surprised he took a deal. But anyway, Tredarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justice Smith are still standing pat and taking this thing to trial in the next 2 weeks. Now, reason why I'm doing this video is I want to just sit and talk with you and think a little bit about the reasoning behind why I think Emmitt Martin took a deal, which I don't think any of them should have got deals, but that's neither here nor there. Take a look at this panel of people talking about the case and what they said, and it got me thinking about something. And you guys might align with what I'm saying. Take a look at this first.
To ABC 24 this week. I'm here with Pepper Baker, Otis Sanford, and by remote in Chicago, Deidre Malone. Let's talk about this second plea deal in the Tyre Nichols case. In this case, it's Emmitt Martin III, second officer who was involved in his death, pleading guilty to 2 counts, counts 1 and 3 of the indictment. One was Martin was charged with using excessive force and failing to intervene in the unlawful lawsuit, and count 3 had to do with Martin conspiring to cover up his use of unlawful force. So there were 4 officers that had not made a plea. Now there are just 3. We'll show you the faces of the others here in a minute, but there they are. Deidre, you first. What's your quick read on the decision?
Well, I think he must understand that the writing's on the wall. I'm sure his attorney probably advised him to move forward with this new plea. And so that's all I would think, Richard, would be the case, because if, at first he was pleading innocent and then he's changed his mind, they must have a great deal of evidence, and I'm sure they do, well, of course, for him to make that change.
Right. We're marching closer and closer to the federal trial, which starts in September.
Exactly.
Pepper, what is your take on?
Well, I know when we did the initial reporting on it, there was a lot of even conflicting stories of that night when we finally got the video. And so I think when these plea deals come out, you're starting to see who's going to have what level of involvement. We know Desmond Mills, the first officer, agreed to possibly testify in those federal trials or state or whatever trials. So, this could be the same thing with Emmitt Martin. I'm curious to know if we're going to even see the federal trial. Are they all going to end up taking plea deals? But video is video. I mean, it's on there. So I agree with Deidre. It must be something that's just like the proof is in the pudding at this point. Right.
And Otis, there's been a lot of back and forth about what can be admitted into court and what can't be admitted, and that too might play a role. Like when you know what the jury is going to be presented with, that might change your perspective and your recommendation to your client.
No question about it. And as Pepper said, video is the video. And it's my understanding that Martin was the first officer to start pummeling on Tyre Nichols, and the video shows that, and was just beating him. He ran away, he caught him, and just beat him some more, and the videos show that. So I don't think that neither he nor his attorney, Mr. Massey, wanted the jury to see that, because it was going to be devastating for him. So yes, and I agree with Deidre. I think this is the writing is on the wall for the other defendants here. I would be surprised at this point to see a federal trial. I think it's September 9th is the date. I think probably the Friday before that, you may see the others just sort of marching into federal court, and pleading guilty as well, because this is a devastating set of circumstances for them.
No question. All right.
Guys, you heard what they said, and they gave some valid points. They said he was the first one that did, hit on Tyre Nichols, one of the first that hit on him, and the last that hit on him with injuries so severe it cost him his life. So they said, oh, it makes sense. See, the one lady said, oh, the writing was on the wall. And I agree. We spoke about this a lot of times this year and last year going into this when this thing had first popped off. This is one of the most craziest crimes I've ever seen, you know, or reported on this channel. The reason why I was so stricken with the fact of what happened to Tyre Nichols when they showed that video was it was audio that went with the video, and you heard a lot of what these officers in attacking this black guy, right, that looked just like him, was saying after it was over, and how after giving him that brutal beating, they never rendered aid. It just went against everything a police officer should stand for as far as, you know, public safety and respect for people. But this is a big trial. Now, remember, this is the federal trial, guys. This is just the civil rights trial where they going to see if he violated the civil rights of this man, which in turn caused his death, so on and so forth. This is not the murder trial. The murder trial will be with the city of Memphis. So I'll be going back down there too. So this won't be the first time or the last time I go to Memphis. Now, they took deals in this because it's federal. Fed always give football numbers. Now you remember, the first guy, Desmond Mills Jr., took a deal where they took some of the charges off of him and said his prison sentence won't exceed 15 years if he took the deal. He took the deal. Emmitt Martin, third, the one that did most of the brutality, he was offered a deal, which I don't understand because he's the one that took Tyre Nichols' life. I mean, they all had a hand in it, but he was the one that was doing all of that punching and all of that stuff, kicking them in the face. Why would they offer him the deal at any? But the reason why I'm saying is, out of everybody that took a deal, they opened the door big enough for him to escape, and he took the shot. And in all honesty, that was a smart move from him rather than go to trial. It's no way he could have went to trial. Remember when we did, because I got all these videos on this Tyre Nichols thing. Remember when I was like, it's no way they going to trial. It's no way. The camera is the camera. It's there. Everything out in the open. He looked really bad, Emmitt Martin III. I'm like, I know he not going to trial. They stood pat. They wanted to see what was known. Now you see, and it was a whole bunch of stuff, just like they said in this video. There were things they didn't want to put in court. They didn't want other things. Then they start blaming, oh, they let the video out in the public. Now the public looks at them bad. Let's take the trial and move it from Memphis to Knoxville. They shut that down. No, it ain't happening in Knoxville. It happened in Memphis, so it's going to stay in Memphis. And rightfully so. These 5 people, members of the Scorpion Unit, not to mention Preston Hemphill, he was there too. You know what I'm saying? And he agreed to testify against these guys first. He was the first one to agree to testify because they got that civil lawsuit over $500 million out there by Tyre Nichols' family, including the likes of C.J. Davis, Field Lieutenant Dwayne Smith, who was standing there and never took control of the situation. Remember him, the old guy? Stood right there and looked at him. He didn't render aid, didn't take control of the situation. They allowed him to gracefully bow out and retire before all this thing blew up. Man, it's a whole shitstorm, excuse my language, but it's real. Now you got 3 people left, and this is the reason why I'm doing this video, and I want you to hear me on this. Got Tredarius Bean, Justin Smith, both of them in the same boat with me, with the way they handled Tyre Nichols, holding his arms, pummeling on him a couple of times, sounding stupid, falling all over the place. They held his arms like a cowboy movie while Emmitt Martin III tried to knock his head off, just as guilty. Now you got Demetrius Haley. He coming, doing stuff as well. Now watch this. This is why I think the deals was taken. Remember at the end when they was talking, doing all of that talking? Yeah, they went for Mart's gun. He went for Mart, talking about Emmitt Martin III. They call him Mart, M-E-R-T. He went for Mark's gun. Then he was like, yeah, he went for my gun. It's a lie. You covering it up, trying to make it like, you know, he was some rabid animal. And that's what they did. Did you hear Tadarius Bean lawyer in one of the hearings? Tyre Nichols was on drugs, or he was on some type of thing. You could hear his mom in the back like, what? They did the autopsy report. The man didn't have hardly anything in the system other than something going out, you know, no different than somebody going and doing something minuscule to where it wouldn't impair their vision, their thinking, their driving ability, or rational thought. He was of sound mind, got out the car, was passive. Hey, all right. Bunch of confusion. Intimidation, terroristic tactics. These police used on him and it cost him his life. Now, Demetrius Haley, at the end, remember? He went for Mark's gun. Yeah, all this stuff. His mouth is what messed the whole thing up. And that's what got everybody on edge, because every time they go back and look, he mentions almost all of them. I started rocking with him. Then Bean, Tadarius Bean, started rocking with him. Man, I said, Lord, we're going to have to kill this man. And guess what? They killed this man. Him talking, his mouth and all of that stuff is what did all of them in. I don't know why they still trying to go to trial. This right here is going to be a trial for the books. You watch. And I'm going to be right there and I'm taking y'all with me. You know I ain't going to have nothing to hide when I tell you what's going on. You know, I'm not syndicated media. I am media, but I'm not syndicated media where I got to go by a guideline. I'm going to tell you exactly everything I see. Facial expressions when questions are asked, what they do, the pressure's on. This is going to be a good situation for this channel. And I'm being honest with you, man. I'm excited because I want to see how the justice system deals with some of their own when they do some of the craziest stuff out here that they arrest other people for. I think Demetrius Haley's, after everything was open, that talking episode, it messed up a lot of them and it's forcing them to take deals because now you got incrimination from one of your own that was at the scene of the crime. What do you think? Leave me a comment. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Destination Memphis. Justice for Tyre Nichols. See you in the next video. Take care.